That's not good. They're getting hungry. Oh yeah, they ate all that. This isn't good at all. No, this doesn't look good. They're cold. Oh yeah, they're really cold. Yep. Yeah, they're gonna be on the edge, fighting for their lives for most of the winter, I'd say. So I should have moved this small colony into a smaller hive before the winter. It's definitely winter now. It's a very small colony, a very small cluster. I don't think they have as much food as they need to get through the winter. I'll be dropping big hunks of fondant right over the cluster, which seems to be right here. I'll be doing that probably every month just to keep them alive this winter. They can still survive that. They can come through the spring okay if they have a strong queen and the queen isn't too stressed out by just the coldness of that hive. It's probably not very warm. I don't have wrap or insulation around any of my hives yet because I like my bees to get cold going into winter. It helps them shift their mindset into winter and shift gears into winter mode so that the queen isn't laying eggs and they're just clustering. And once they get into that mode, they seem to do better in the winter. So I want them to get cold, a little bit cold. I want them to just know and understand that summer is over. So I don't wrap them right away, but I think it's time to wrap them. Not a lot of wrap, and some of my hives I don't wrap them at all. But this one will definitely get a bit of wrap because it's such a small colony anyway, and they can't produce a lot of heat. This isn't the greatest situation, but I'll make it work. And these are the leftover, these are little containers that had just the little thinnest layer of fondant in them. And they ate through that like in no time at all. So I'll be dropping fondant into them throughout the winter, like I said. Something I don't like though is this is the feeding rim, and I'd say it's about 2 inches, 1.5 inches thick. It's pretty high actually, and I'd rather it wasn't that thick. That's dead air space, and so that's air that would normally hit the roof or the ceiling of their hive right here and just stay there. That warm air would stay right up top, but instead it's up here where they're not clustering. They're clustering right here or down here. And there's a hunk of hot air up there that's not on the bees. It's not a huge thing. If it was a bigger space, it would definitely be a problem. It's just air that's warm air that's not really doing them a lot of good. So the temptation is to get rid of that, take that fondant somehow and just squish it down in between the frames or whatever. But I'll just leave it alone for now. I could also put the fondant down like I just did and then put a piece of newspaper over all the frames, just covering all the frames, and then place something heavy on the newspaper to weigh it down, like just sugar or anything really. And that newspaper would just create a barrier to keep the heat down a little bit. Not a lot, because it's still, not completely sealed. I could try that, but see, then it gets messy and all that. As long as they have that fondant, they should be in pretty good shape, he says with confidence. Anyway, so it's not the greatest setup. These are just 2 mediums, and I don't think there's really much going down in that bottom medium. And this is a a pollen trap that has a closed screened bottom board, which probably isn't doing them any favors right now. I don't think they need that extra ventilation just because they're cold. They just need to be cuddled. If you have a large hive that's just packed with bees, they can usually manage themselves. But if it's small, they usually can use all the help they can get. These are 3 5-frame hives together. And they've got some insulation strapped to them, but not a lot, not completely. Like that one's, I left this one open because it's got this plug sticking out. It's got this handle sticking out, which makes it kind of a pain to put on insulation. I'm waiting until I have a time to just cut the exact dimensions of the insulation to cover that piece of the hive. And you can see, so that's the one that basically, it's the one on the side that doesn't have any insulation, but everything else is insulated. Underneath these migratory top covers, I have a massive piece of hard insulation under each one of those. And these covers are actually covering, it's sort of covering each other, so there's really no gap right here between them. So it's one big cover. Each of these pieces of insulation are glued down with silicone, 100% silicone. So it's sealed in good. Ain't no leaks getting in that hive.